Greetings. Let us start with the discussion on environmental management principle. A variety of principles are used in environmental management. They help to guide and shape the way the people interact with the environment as a nation develops. This principle includes polluter pay principle triple P, user pay principle UPP or resource pricing principle, precautionary principle, subsidiary principle, intergenerational equity principle, cradle to grave principle. This principle operates either a soft law when they act as a strategic principle when in environmental policies, or they act as a hard law when they are legislative or enforceable or both. For example, for a traffic rules, we say that the age group less than 18 years not able to get the license, but some people breach this one. At that case, we apply some legislative action to them, either by giving punishment or imprisonment to the guardians. So this principle are soft when we urge to the people to follow it, and it becomes hard when we enforce them to follow the guidelines. Let us go in detail about the different principle and their specification. Polluter pay principle triple P dictates that anyone who disturbs or spoils the environment in any way must take necessary corrective measures to rectify the environment or pay for the cost of remediation. Means one, the person who disturbs or spoils the environment is wholly responsible to have a corrective measures for the remediation of that, or he has to penalized accordingly. For example, if a company pollutes a river which is source of domestic agriculture or recreational water for a given community, then the company should either pay for cleaning of the river or provide alternative source of water such as borewells etc, so that the community can be served with the fresh water again. I have given a link here which is related to a YouTube presentation on the polluter principle, which will make you people more understand about the concept and the examples related to it. So I urge you people after this video, you people should watch this YouTube links and go through the discussions part. Now we'll move towards the second principle, user pay principle, UPP or resource principle, pricing principle. Below the heading, once again I have provided YouTube link. Every principle I have provided the YouTube link, which will make you understand the concept deeper and more extensively. The principle states that all resource users should pay for the full long run marginal cost of the use of resource and related services, including any associated treatment cost. It is applied when resources are being used and consumed. The principle says that if a person is going to use a resource for a long term, he has to make a corrective measure on the basis of himself only. Like here I have shown a chimney and a dollar sign. It says that where we are going to have exhaust from chimney, it's going to create a pollutant like carbon monoxide, and it gets mixed with the water. So the industry himself is responsible to correct this one so that minimum pollution can be there. So the cost of minimizing this will be bear by industry himself. The another example is the driver who purchases a gasoline may believe that they pay for full cost user pay of using gasoline except for the greenhouse gas produced. Is what when he is going to have a fuel in his vehicle, then he should be penalized, or he should have a taxation policy that at the purchase itself is going to pay for the use of it. They impose cost on the environment and are known to contribute to the climate change. Like we have some certification like PUC, pollution control unit, PCU, sorry, PCU, pollution country control unit, where we assure that every vehicle is going to have certification from it. Otherwise, we will have a penalty for it. That is called a user pay principle. Similarly, the third principle says about precautionary principle. Here, the proverb says that the precaution is better than the cure. The same principle has been measured in terms of environment. So, in this case, it is required that if there is a strong suspicion that a certain activity may have environmentally harmful consequences, it is better to control that activity now rather than to wait for incontrovertible scientific evidence. Means we are not going to wait for the results to come out. We are going to think about the pros and cons at the initial stage of the activities, and we are going to have rectification at the source itself. Like it may be loss, precaution and prevention, it may be based on economy, it may be based on policy and decision making, risk assessment, perceive, that is values and attitudes, science, uncertainty and cautions. Okay, in this case we are not going to say the industry is going to show us some benefits and this benefit is going to add to the economy, but counterpart is going to have a harm to the environment, thereby affecting the health. So we have to say at the initial stage itself that this activity is going to be having a harmful effect on environment or not. If it's so, then we are going to stop it and we are going to rectify it. For example, global warming and cooling, loss of species, population explosion, genetic modified crops, mad cow disease, new drugs. So we, in case of new drugs, we should assure that this drug is not going to have any harm to the consumer. Before that, we have to go for extensive testing and confirm that the activity is being good and it's helpful for the human being. Next one, environmentally subsidiary principle. In this principle, it implies that promoting system that, where possible, enable people to enact their own forms of social, pro-social and pro-environmental behavior through voluntary, not coerced or corporation. Means here he demands that people should know by their own that my contribution to the environmental effects are being recorded, it is being for a future generation, it is going to have certain impact of nearby my colleagues or ecosystem. So a good example of this one is a good example of where the principle of subsidiarity is tested is the Indian policy on road traffic safety. For example, there is a directive that requires children under the age of 18 and less than 135 centimeter is not allowed to drive a vehicle. If found, parents or guardians will be punished. So this is said that this will be followed by the people. This law we have made, but what we require, the people should have their own voluntary contribution and should take care about that this law, which the restriction which we have prepared is not being breached by them. If they do so, there may be a chances of legislative actions on guardians or the counterpart, the people here. Similarly, one more example is that no loans for farmers who goes in open for toilet. We have seen number of movies coming on there saying that this is very harmful, unhygienic things which we want to stop. It is going to have the adverse effect on the health. So for that, the people, the some one of the legislative actions should be that we will not allow any loans to the farmer who goes in open for the toilets. In the case next one, intergenerational equity principle, IEP, is a value concept which focus on the right of future generation. Each generation has a right to inherit the same diversity in natural and cultural resources enjoyed by previous generation and to equitably assess to the use and benefits of these resources. We have many times the children asking what our parents has done with for us. So the parents has enjoyed the things in their early age. Now it has been depleted. So what we would require here, we require to protect the things that what I have enjoyed in my childhood, same childhood I should preserve for my kids. And this can be happen only when we have a strategic plan and we have a process where we can minimize the losses. So in such a way, we make a people aware about the uses, different uses. Resources, it may be resource like natural resource, or it may be resource which are being man-made or identified one. Natural resources like water cycle, natural resources like vegetation, and the resources which are hidden into the soil like the minerals, the ores which we have. We should give a prior knowledge to our kids that these resources are the God gift and we have to use it with its optimum value so that these resources should be carried out for the next generation. The second thing which we have employed nowadays, we are making awareness through running various programs like we have World Wildlife Day, we have World Energy Conservation Day observed at every December 14th. Then we have World Water Day, March 22nd, World Health Day, World Environment Day on June 5th. Likewise, the advertisement, the instruction has been followed to the society so that the integration of equity principle can be run thoroughly. Now we'll move towards the last principle of this environment management. This principle says cradle to the grave principle. Means from the infant, cradle is the tool where we start to we want our kids to have a first look towards the world by what we babysittings to the cradle. Grave means the last sitting where he is going to have a permanent set. Means what here is not related to human being. It's related to the resource you have created and you have disposed it. Means from the raw to the final good and from final good to the disposed. This cycle has to be completely addressed by an individual. So he says the principle says the cradle to grave states that a generator is responsible for its waste from generation to ultimate disposal. Means the generator himself will be care about how I am going to dispose the things. Nothing will be really relinquish a generator of this responsibility. There's no expiration date or time limit, and hiring someone else to transport and dispose of your wastage does not transfer responsibility. He says that the responsibility is total on a particular individual. He is responsible for what we say transporting or disposing of this one, and there will be no chances that this responsibility can be handed over to the others. Like some critical have shown here, chemical waste disposal. Every chemical waste has its caution, so this caution has to be followed and strictly accordingly the disposal system has been made. Similarly, hazardous waste disposal, the company who is going to prepare this should ensure that the disposal mechanism is to be displayed on the consumer side. If not, the company should take care of the disposal of such hazardous whatever, especially in case of nuclear power plants where there is a threat to the human life if certain unusual thing happens. Now we'll move towards the objective of environmental management. The objective of environmental management plan is to formulate measure which will mitigate adverse impact on various environmental components which have been identified during the rapid environmental impact assessment study. The second thing, the protect environmental resources where possible. Third one, enhance the value of environmental components where possible. So these are related to the preservation, conservation, and utilization of the resources and their component parts. EMP, Environmental Management Plan, also includes a monitoring plan to enable evaluation of success or failure of environmental management measures and to carry out reorientation of the plan if found necessary. Like we have a pandemic of COVID-19. So this pandemic has started from one of the located area. It has spread up. So we have a cautionary principle saying that stay quarantine or have a lockdown period so that there should not be a community spread. This is one of the major which we can say is a monitoring plan. And based on this monitoring plan, we can have measures to rectify the disaster or minimize the amount of disaster. It is emphasized that many of the protective and enhancement measures can be implemented by adopting suitable planning and design criteria for the construction project. Any construction process should be followed with a particular strategic plan how I am going to minimize the things which will affect the environment. The last topic, the environmental management plans covers the design, construction, commission, and operation and maintenance phases of each project components. The various stages includes stage 1, identification of common agreement on goals and objectives. Second stage, in this stage what the people will do, the owner, the stakeholder come together and will have a common agreement. This is the target. After doing such an activity, there will be so and so environmental losses, and we will have a protective measures for it. Then there will be a extensive research and development for adequate understanding of the relevant issues. There may be a what we say total record of a project and statistical the experimental data will be done, and then identification and evaluation of alternative mode operandi of the fulfillment of objectives will be there. Then stage 4, selection and implementation of a specific strategy will be mentioned. Then after that there will be a last cause, we will say case study of it, monitoring results along with modification of plans according to the changing demands and values. Sometimes product get finalized after the implementation or after having applied, so the modification will be done. So likewise I have covered the topic related to environmental management which was from module 3 which was left. Now I can say the module 3 has been complete. So be ready for the mid semester examination up to module 3. Rest of the things I will ask through questions to you. So stay safe, stay at home, Be healthy. Thank you.